Coming up on today's show, I'm going to be talking about the latest Justin Haley rumors as they continue to circulate around NASCAR, and my power rankings are finally back. Welcome to Talkin NASCAR, episode number 33. I'm your host, Andrew Volkman. Great to have you guys back on the show today. We got a brief show. We got a couple topics I would like to discuss today, including my power rankings, which are finally back after a long overdue absence. But a lot of stuff I've had to catch up on and a lot of stuff to do, but they are finally making the return. I'm making my, they are actually recording this on Saturday, the day of the NASCAR Cup Series race from Richmond Raceway, and they'll be racing in about 2 hours Central Time. It's about 4:15 when I'm starting this recording, and this will probably be going up around maybe 4:45 or 5 o'clock Central Time. And the Richmond Raceway race, the Euro 400, I think that's the sponsor race. I think that will be going live on USA at 6:30 Central Time, so that's about 7:30 Eastern Time. Excuse me. So make sure you're tuning in tonight. It's a Saturday night race, prime time instead of a Sunday mid-afternoon race from Richmond. So this is the second to last regular season race. So we're gonna have to wait and see if there's any surprise winners. But I'll be making a live reaction or kind of reaction to tonight's race either later tonight or early tomorrow morning, depending on how my schedule prevails. I'm probably going to have to squeeze it in tonight, so I'll probably have an episode going live tomorrow morning that I record tonight. But let's just go ahead and get to our first story. So if you guys remember from yesterday, my last episode on this show, I talked about Natalie Decker, local Wisconsin NASCAR driver, female driver, one of the pioneers of the sport. Well, not the pioneers of the sport, but is racing in NASCAR. She'll be making a return at Daytona International Raceway and next week in the Xfinity Series, driving for DGM Motorsports in the number 92 Chevrolet with Jesse Iwuju Motorsports. And in that statement and in that report, I said that Natalie Decker is the first female driver to compete in NASCAR after giving birth. And I've been since made aware that that is incorrect, and I am very embarrassed to admit that I gave a false report, and it is one of the I feel bad about it, and I feel really bad about it. Not to discredit Natalie Decker here, because it's not her fault, and it's very impressive what she's doing, but she is not the first female driver to compete in NASCAR National Touring Series after giving birth. And there's a couple other drivers. I just want to mention them: Sarah Christensen, Ethel Mobley, Shauna Robinson, Kelly Sutton, Allie Owens, Jessica Friesen, and Tina Gordon. I believe Tina Gordon actually competed against her daughter in ARCA back in 2022. I may be wrong about that. I may be slightly off on that, but I believe Tina Gordon and Jessica Friesen are the most recent female drivers to compete after giving birth. That title will be since taken away by Natalie Decker. And again, not trying to take away from Natalie Decker here, because what she's doing is very impressive. I just feel like I might as well mention and kind of apologize and acknowledge that I was wrong and mention these other women, because what they're doing is very impressive, and I just wish that I haven't offended anybody. And the reason for this is Fox actually made this report, and what I don't really know is Fox kind of doing this because they don't know about these other guys. Like, Jessica Friesen is the obvious one that you should know, because Jessica Friesen, I believe, competed last in 2021 was her last race, maybe 2022. I believe maybe 2021 or 2022 in the Truck Series for Halmar Friesen Racing, Stewart's team, back in the 62 truck. I believe that was either 2022 or 2021 again. So I believe Jessica Friesen and Tina Gordon are the last to compete. So I'm just surprised that NASCAR, or Fox, excuse me, is not aware of this. Like, I just hope this is Fox being not aware and not making sure they have all the facts and all the correct facts at that. If this is Fox just completely hyping up Natalie Decker for no reason and kind of not, or just discrediting all these other women, I I hope that's not the case. I don't think we'll ever know for sure. Um, we might, but I it's very interesting. I do think this definitely does put a bad look on Fox, because Fox on NASCAR side of things doesn't have already the greatest kind of reputation so far as of recently, because they got the video game character, or the comic book characters, excuse me. The broadcast booth can have limited amounts of chemistry at times with Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, Larry McReynolds, the pit reporters. The sound mixing has gotten a lot of criticism over these last couple seasons. Just the camera work has also gotten a lot of criticism. Overall, Fox has gotten a lot of criticism from NASCAR fans. Myself being one of them. Like, I'm a big fan of Fox. I think that the booth overall is really good. Like, it's got a lot of good people. Like Mike Joy is a legendary voice of NASCAR as the play-by-play guy. You got Clint Boyer, who I think is a pretty good analyst, has a lot of energy, and then you got Kevin Harvick, who's my favorite driver ever in NASCAR history. Most because of his Gravedigger scheme, for those of you who are not aware, back in 2021. But I think Kevin Harvick brings a lot more recent insight that can benefit from that the booth can benefit from, because he's the last guy really to retire and be in a broadcast booth and having driven the next gen cars. So I think Kevin Harvick can definitely brings a lot, I should say. And then you got good pit reporters with Jamie Little, who is, I think, a really good talent in the pit road area and as well in the broadcast booth. She's not perfect, but none of these guys are, but she's definitely very, very good. Regan Smith, a former driver as well. I think he brings a lot to the table there. Michael Waltrip is kind of a cool, funny personality. Kind of a goofball, to be honest, but I do like Michael Waltrip. And then Daryl Waltrip, Larry McReynolds, legendary figures in NASCAR. So might as well say that Fox has a lot of good things going. It's just this doesn't really help them in any way to maybe get rid of that criticism and maybe negative kind of connotation around them from current NASCAR fans. But that's just my opinion. You guys are going to have to let me know. Once again, I apologize to Sarah Christensen, Ethel Mobley, Shauna Robinson, Kelly Sutton, Allie Owens, Jessica Friesen, and Tina Gordon for kind of discrediting them and for kind of just putting them aside with this report. So hope that maybe makes up for it a little bit. Again, I'm very sorry to all of you guys who I fed misinformation to. So I'm just hoping that this is one of the few times I'm going to get a report wrong and I don't have to do this. So let's just go ahead and move on to the next story. Josh Williams, a former full-time NASCAR Xfinity Series driver as late as last year, or earlier this year, I should say, uh, as you all know, was released from Calling Racing earlier this year from his 11 car. It was announced that Optum, I believe I'm saying that right, a leading information and technology enabled health service business, has partnered with Ally Employer Services to sponsor Josh Williams and the Josh Williams Hospital Tour in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and he will drive 4 races in the number 45 car for Alpha Prime Racing, and will return to the track at Daytona next week in the Wawa 250. He will also make starts at the Charlotte Roval, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and Phoenix Raceway, the season finale. So really good to see Josh Williams back in the seat, in the car, because Josh Williams is a really good dude. He's done a lot of good work with hospitals. He's done a lot of work with kids and children, sick children. So it's good to see Josh Williams. Seems like a good dude. I've never met him, but I think he radiates a lot of good energy for the most part. For all the little younger kids out there, and like my age, who he radiates a lot of good aura, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna sound kind of unprofessional by saying that, but I thought I might say that for the younger listeners out there. But Josh Williams is really good to see him back in the seat for Alpha Prime Racing in the 45 car. And this Josh Williams hospital tour will help Josh make journeys to children's hospitals across the country that will span across the entire remainder of the racing season. So, a lot of good stuff that Josh Williams is doing here. Hope that it all goes well for Josh Williams in the coming weeks. All right, moving on. Last night, in my last episode, I did an instant reaction pretty much to the report from The Athletic by Jordan Bianchi, I believe, that NASCAR is considering moving the 2026 All Star race to Dover Motor Speedway and giving North Wilkesboro Speedway, which has been the host of the All Star race for the past 2 seasons, a point series date. So, I've listened to a lot of the reactions online by most people, and I've kind of formed a reformed opinion now. And my kind of reformed opinion now is that why is NASCAR going to do this? Because I feel like Dover isn't a good date for this anymore. I mean, it's not a good date for an all star race. Like, I mean, I feel like North Wilkesboro isn't much better, but compared to Dover as of late, it's been stale racing, single file racing at Dover. It's kind of like Bristol. Um, they got some good crashes every now and then, but I just feel like that Dover being the All Star race is kind of a lot like going to Texas, that they did a couple years ago, for like since 2022 to 2023 or 2020, like 2029 or 2020 to 2022. I don't know why I said 2029, guys. I'm sorry. But it kind of feels like that. It's a little bit farther away compared to North Wilkesboro, which is basically in most of the team's backyard in North Carolina and Winston-Salem. So, I mean, or in no, Winston-Salem, that's Bowman Gray, excuse me. North Wilkesboro, it doesn't make a lot of sense, in my opinion. And yes, the short track package is not as good compared to previous years, but I say that the racing is a lot worse at tracks like Dover. It's single file, hard to pass. At least at North Wilkesboro, the new tire compound, the softer tire compound by Goodyear, is at least making some improvements. So I just don't understand that. And you got to feel for the Dover fans who go to Dover Motor Speedway. Like, their point series race or points date is getting kicked to the curb for an all star race. Like, that sucks. Like, unless they're getting a second date, which I don't think would happen if they get an all star race date, which that would suck. That would really suck for all the Dover fans. And I think Dover does better as a point state, and it will not do good as a all-star race. Like, what is NASCAR going to try to do? Like, they're going to test out like a new aero package? Are they going to test something out? Are they going to have this weird gimmick? Like, I don't know. Like, this, I just don't, it doesn't make a lot of sense why. I would much rather have it be at North Wilkesboro. I'd rather be at Bowman Gray. I'd rather it be at Rockingham, for example. Like, somewhere local to NASCAR in the Carolinas that's not too far away. It's an easy trip to get to. It makes it easier for the teams to show up to, and it actually gives them a reason to. It's in their backyard. It makes the trip feel like it's less of like, oh, we got to go to Dover in Delaware. We have to drive up north for a race that doesn't even give points and just gives $1 million check, and nobody else gets money pretty much. And that's not true. They get payout from the race, but like, I if they go to Dover, it's gonna feel more like that than it is for North Wilkesboro saying like, oh, we're gonna go to a local track, local short track, and put on a really cool exhibition race. Like, yeah, let's do it. I much rather have that than going to Dover and have a race like I just mentioned. So that's kind of my opinion, my reformed opinion, I guess. I think last night I was kind of more in awe and hadn't given really much thought to it. So now I've given thought to it. I've listened to the opinions of NASCAR and all the fans, and I think the majority of it is no, let's not do that. And I think I agree. Being that I'm from Wisconsin, which maybe I have no right to talk, maybe because I live in Wisconsin and it's nowhere near the Carolinas. But hope this doesn't really come true. I hope that Dover just continues with a normal points date and North Wilkesboro. I think North Wilkesboro should get a points date. I'm not saying that North Wilkesboro does not deserve a points date. I think that North Wilkesboro, this might be a hot take, they might have some of the better short track racing. Like, Martinsville has gotten better. Richmond, I think it's yet to be seen how the new tire compound will work. We're actually going to see that tonight. Iowa, it's clear to me, has not been, this year was actually not great. Like, maybe that track is due for a repave. Um, other tracks, other short tracks, like, haven't really impressed me very much. So I think North Wilkesboro with its new repave is actually doing pretty good. I honestly think that Iowa would maybe benefit from it a little bit more, maybe widen out the groove a little bit. Rockingham has looked so really good so far. It's kind of like a mix between a intermediate and a short track. It's honestly kind of like Iowa, if I'm being honest. Maybe not quite as of a D shape, but it's length and size wise pretty similar to Iowa. I'm just kind of realizing that right now. But I think North Wilkesboro does deserve a point state, but not at the expense of getting rid of a track and taking Dover off the point state calendar. Like, I don't think that's a really good alternative. So, again, that's my opinion. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this NASCAR to Dover for the All Star race proposal. And again, the schedule has not come out yet. Kelly Crandall said that the schedule may come out as soon as next week. So hopefully they wait a little bit longer and maybe reconsider this. But we're just going to have to wait and see. All right, real quick before we get to power rankings, I know, sorry. The Craftsman Truck Series playoff field was set last night at Richmond Raceway. Uh, some close battles at the bubble, but the 10 driver field for the playoffs has been set. Let's just go through it real quick. Corey Heim got the number 1 seed. He actually secured the regular season championship back at Indianapolis a couple weeks ago. So Corey Heim, he got his victory at Richmond Raceway, and that basically sealed it all, finalizing the 10 driver championship field for the Craftsman Truck Series playoffs. Lane Riggs, Chandler Smith, 2 front row teammates also qualified. Daniel Hemrick, in his return to the Craftsman Truck Series, also made it as well for McAnally Hilgerman Racing. Same with his teammate Tyler Ankrum, who kind of came out of nowhere earlier this year to make the playoffs, and Rajah Caruth as well with his win at Nashville, all qualified into the playoffs. And then on points, Grant Enfinger, defending series champion Ty Majeski. Shout out to Wisconsin driver Ty Majeski as well. Kane Honeycutt, who swapped rides over to the 52 truck for Halmar Friesen Racing. It was his first race with the team last night at Richmond. Also qualified, and with Stuart Friesen opting out of the drivers' playoffs, that freed up one more spot for the drivers' points. And that was Jake Garcia of Thorsport just beating out his teammate, Ben Rhodes, and 2-time Truck Series champion Ben Rhodes, to say that. So tough luck for Rhodes and some other drivers below the cut line, but the 10 driver playoff field for the Craftsman Truck Series again has been set. Again, it's Corey Heim, Lane Riggs, Chandler Smith, Daniel Hemrick, Tyler Ankrum, Rajah Caruth, Grant Enfinger, Ty Majeski, Caden Honeycutt, and Jake Garcia. All right. It's time for power rankings, everybody. Long overdue, post Watkins Glen edition. For those of you who are not aware, I go in every week after every single NASCAR Cup Series race, and I rank the top 10 fastest drivers and teams in the NASCAR Cup Series. Again, post Watkins Glen edition. A little bit of a weird race, but there's some big movers too. So let's go ahead and just get into it. It was a weird week, though. First, got an honorable mention real quick. Tyler Reddick got a 9th place finish at Watkins Glen. One of his best road course finishes of the year. One of his better road finishes in the past 3 weeks. And Tyler Reddick wasn't a big factor at Watkins Glen, and that's what he's been for the last couple months. He's just been a non-factor. He's just kind of been in the background. Still's had some solid finishes. I mean, Sonoma, he finished 6th, going back a couple weeks, but Dover 12th, Indianapolis 29th, Iowa 19th. Just not been very expiring for Tyler Reddick, but thought I'd give him an honorable mention because he's still 7th in the driver standings in the regular season point standings, so thought I'd just have to give him a mention here. Now, Kyle Busch, on the other hand, completely different story. He's in 15th in the regular season point standings, and the last 3 finishes have not been very good, but he's had really good speed at all 3 tracks. Watkins Glen, he started 5th and had really good speed as well. Iowa started dead last pretty much and managed to get up into the top 10 a couple different times, but ended up finishing in 20th. In Indianapolis, him and Austin Dillon both had really good speed, started in 12th and finished in 25th. His last best finish was going back to Dover, where he finished 11th. So Busch has had good speed, and the regular season, with it coming to a close soon, Busch is definitely a guy to watch out for. And another one is Chris Buescher. He got a 3rd place finish at Watkins Glen. However, I am just keeping him outside of my top 10 because he's been a little bit inconsistent recently. Recent finishes of 14th, 22nd, and then 9th at Dover, 22nd at Iowa, 14th at Indianapolis. He's just not been as consistent as some of the other guys, but Richmond, he won here a couple years ago, back in 2023, and he went on to win 3 out of the last 5 races. So Buescher, maybe the time is right for him to start getting hot once again, but he's definitely a guy to watch. And same for Ryan Preece. He actually got the pole for Richmond, and I think he's been a little bit more consistent than Chris Buescher, but the speed, I don't think it's been entirely been there. Recent finishes of 13th, 5th, and 4th has been his best finishes pretty much of the year. He's been very consistent. There's been some other guys, though, that I'm liking just a little bit more compared to Ryan Preece. Because at number 10, I got Bubba Wallace. Recent finishes of 8th, 6th, and then 1st at Indianapolis and 7th at Dover. He's been really consistent and really, really good recently. At Watkins Glen, which is a road course, he got an 8th place finish, a top 10. He was actually ahead of his teammate of Ryan Preece. Tyler Reddick. Why did I say Ryan Preece, guys? I don't know why I said that. But either way, Bubba Wallace has been extremely consistent. He's got that win back at Indianapolis. He's been really, really good. He's hitting a hot stretch heading into the playoffs. Bubba Wallace is going to be a little bit dangerous and a bit of a wild card to watch out heading into the playoffs. So look out for Bubba Wallace in the coming weeks. He'll move up into the power rankings at number 10. Brad Keselowski is also in the top 10 by just a thread. Finished 31st at Watkins Glen, but had a tire issue. Couldn't really recover from that, but recent finishes at a 3rd at Iowa, 5th at Indianapolis, 10th at Dover, 11th at Sonoma. Need I say more? Brad Keselowski has been very consistent. He qualified inside the top 10, I believe, for Richmond, and all of RFK has looked really, really good this weekend. And then Daytona is coming up as well, heading into the playoffs. That is a track that I'm watching for Brad Keselowski to make a move and possibly get a win into the playoffs. Brad Keselowski may not be as kind of a big name heading into the playoffs as guys like Buescher, his teammate Preece, both of his teammates, I should say, but I'm liking what Keselowski is doing. And Watkins Glen, I think it might have been just a little bit of a fluke. It wasn't really his fault, but I will say, if he does have a worse week compared to his teammates of Buescher and Preece, I think the trigger will be quick to pull on Brad Keselowski. The leash is short, one could say, on Brad Keselowski inside the top 10. But right now, Brad K holding a spot inside my top 10 at number 9. However, moving on to a bit of a sour moment at number 8, Kyle Larson is down 4 spots from 4 to 8. What has been going on with Larson these past couple weeks, man? Finished 28th at Iowa, didn't really have the speed to compete, just faded way towards the end. And at Watkins Glen, had a brake issue and really couldn't recover from that, though he did have good speed, though. I will say he had good speed. He put up the Xfinity fastest lap. And before that, 2nd at Indianapolis and 4th at Dover. He's just been so inconsistent, and there's been some more guys, though, that have been consistent. Now, we are heading to a track at Richmond, which he's done really well at in the past. So maybe Larson can get back on track, but like we keep saying that, can he get back on track? We just haven't seen that from him, and I right now think he is probably the 8th quickest driver. Maybe he's contending for a top 5 spot, but right now, after 2 really bad finishes, I gotta put him at 8 for right now. His teammate of Bowman is also down 2 spots to number 7 after being in 5th last week. Finished 20th at Watkins Glen. Didn't really have the speed. He did get some stage points, though. He did get some stage points, and that is what kind of kept him inside the top 10 for me over guys like Buescher or Preece. And recent finishes of 7th, 9th, and 3rd, going back to Dover. He's been good. He's been pretty good. And Richmond, he's been good there before. He's definitely on a bit of a shorter leash, kind of similar to Brad Keselowski right now, but I like the speed, and it's Hendrick Motorsports for Alex Bowman. So I think he does deserve to be inside the top 10 for right now. But again, shorter leash, I should say, heading into Richmond. Keep an eye out for Alex Bowman, who doesn't have a win yet. He's still in on points, but keep an eye out for Alex Bowman. After a couple weeks off, Chris Rebel is finally back inside the top 10 at number 6. Got a top 2 finish at Watkins Glen, finished 2nd after passing Chris Buescher on the final lap, which is very impressive to say the least. And he's been racking up some consistent finishes. They haven't been flashy. He's got a 5th at Sonoma, 8th at Indianapolis, 17th at Iowa. They've been nothing crazy, nothing like the 3 wins in a row to start off the season kind of momentum that Bell had earlier in the year, but he's starting to find it a little bit. He definitely did come back down to earth. He just actually moved up into 4th for the regular season point standings, tied with Kyle Larson right now, and Larson just had a bad finish, so I guess Bell gets it because he had a better finish, but he's still doing very, very good, and he padded his stats earlier in the year, so you can lean on that heading into the playoffs. So Bell right now, he's been good. he's not been great. He's kind of been like Larson, hot and cold at times, but I would say Bell's been definitely a little bit more hot compared to Larson. So Bell will be at number 6 for this week. And another guy that just fell down the power rankings this week, Chase Elliott. Man, what happened at Watkins Glen? He finished 26th. The track that he had his streak broken of finishing inside the top 20 for every single race prior to this, and Watkins Glen was it. The track where he's won at before. The track it's a road course. You should be doing good, but I guess this weekend wasn't it. He used a little bit of track position and tire strategy, but that ended up not working. Ended up being on the wrong side of strategy. Just didn't look like he had the car to compete. Finished 26th. And then other finishes besides that, 4th at Iowa, 13th at Indianapolis, 6th at Dover, 3rd at Sonoma, going all the way back to early July. So Chase Elliott, he still has a little bit of time to compete for the regular season points standings, but at this point, 42 points out. Something disastrous would have to happen to William Byron for him to still be in contention and possibly take the lead again. So Chase Elliott, he's been kind of on a slide recently, so maybe he can get back on track at Richmond. A high tire wear track should be his bread and butter. But we're just going to have to wait and see how Chase Elliott does this week. Denny Hamlin is also down one spot to number 4. Struggled at Watkins Glen, to be expected, but this is back-to-back weeks now of Hamlin kind of struggling. Iowa finished 24th and Watkins Glen 25th. We expected him to struggle at Watkins Glen, but Iowa, maybe a little bit surprising. For me, maybe not so much, because Hamlin didn't do very good there last year. I wasn't expecting him to really do much better than last year, or maybe just do better than his qualifying effort, I should say, but Hamlin down one spot, but besides that, 3rd at Indianapolis and 1st at Dover. Richmond, he's very good at. It's his home track, so Hamlin should be fast there tonight. I would watch out for him to be in contention at Richmond tonight, so Hamlin will be at number 4. Up to number 3, however, is William Byron. Back-to-back top 5 finishes. 4th at Watkins Glen, and of course, he got that win at Iowa after a really kind of rough month of July. Pretty rough month of June, too, I would say. June he was pretty good, actually. July was the trouble month for him. 40th at Chicago, 8th at Sonoma was actually pretty good, but he didn't lead any laps there. 31st at Dover, 16th at Indianapolis, and then finally, as the month turned to August, he got that first place finish and then a 4th. So I guess William Byron just really does not like the summer. That's what the history of his stats shows, I guess. But Byron heading into Richmond, he's been fine there as well. He's been nothing special, kind of out like Alex Bowen, but right now leads the regular season point standings by 42, again over his teammate of Chase Elliott. 2 races remaining, heading to Daytona next week, the track where he got his first win of the season, the Daytona 500. So Byron, he's got a lot of good things going for him right now, so I'm going to move him up to number 3. However, up 4 spots to number 2 is Ryan Blaney in the 12 car. The fastest Ford, pretty much, besides Chris Buescher at Watkins Glen, finished 6th, but was still able to hang on for a top 10 finish on a completely different tire strategy from SVG, Bell, and Buescher, and won a stage as well, started on pole, and then recent finishes of 4th, 7th, 8th, going all the way back to Dover. Blaney probably is the best long-run driver in the Cup Series right now, and I think that will do him a lot of good things at Richmond. Again, high tire wear track. It's a short track, which theoretically Ford should be really good at, and especially Penske, which they've kind of struggled at this year. So Blaney up to number 2. I like what I've seen from Ryan Blaney heading into the regular season finale at Daytona. Again, a good super speedway racer as well. So keep an eye out for Ryan Blaney. But still at number 1 is Chase Briscoe in the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. Finished 5th at Watkins Glen, then 2nd at Iowa, and going back to Dover, finished 2nd, Sonoma 2nd. He's been qualifying really good. Qualifying efforts going back all the way to Sonoma. 2nd at Sonoma, 2nd at Dover, pole at Indianapolis, pole at Iowa, and then 3rd at Watkins Glen. He's been really good qualifying wise. I guess James Small and Chase Briscoe took it personally when NASCAR penalized them at Daytona after starting on pole, maybe. But he's got 6 poles, which is insane. Only got 1 win though, but average starting position of 10th. I think you'll take that if you're Chase Briscoe. So, and I really don't have any reason to take him off of number 1 yet. Maybe some guys like Blaney, Byron, Hamlin, or Bell, or Larson. Maybe those guys can have a late season kind of surge and take over the number 1 spot after Richmond or Daytona, maybe. But Daytona is kind of a hard track to judge for power ranking. So, don't know how that will work out, but Richmond will kind of be the last telling point to see who will come out on top in the power rankings after the regular season ends. So that's it for power rankings. Let me know down in the comments who should be off this list, who should be on this list. Let me know. And that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for listening. Give us a follow on Spotify or Apple Podcast as well. If you're listening on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment as well on what you thought of the power rankings and what you thought of the show today. Go check out Talking Sports with Miles and Andrew, the other show I co-host with my buddy Miles Shield, who celebrated his 15th birthday this week. Happy birthday to Miles. I'll be turning 15 as well very, very soon as well. So maybe Miles will give me a happy birthday on the next podcast. But I will do it. I'll give him a happy birthday. Maybe we'll play some happy birthday music. So we're just going to have to wait and see about that. But again, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you maybe later tonight for the Richmond race review and recap. And I'll see you then, possibly. We'll see. This has been Andrew Volkman with Talking NASCAR. And I will see you in the next episode, everybody. See you then.